Tales of the Toronto. Shout out to Toronto. Warline. Warline. Story of Smoke Dog. I be feeling like I feel like they running these Jones back or something. Or they be talking about them in too much different Tales of Toronto. I feel like I seen one on him before. Or it might just be a different documentary. I don't know. But I feel like, he just talks about him in every other documentary. Because I hear about Smoke Dog a lot. And all these docs. Because I always cut. I ain't gonna lie though. Child Support got the best documentaries right now. To me, him and Son in Philly. Dude in Philly, American Confidential, and Child Support make the two best to me. Besides Trap Lord Ross. Trap Lord Ross is just mad. I ain't gonna lie. He on a different level. But everybody else, I fuck with them two the most.
Smoke Dawg was an emerging star in Toronto's underground rap scene, but being raised in the city's most infamous hood, it came with a ton of hardship. From losing a handful of loved ones to gun violence, to engaging in a shootout in the heart of the six, Smoke Dawg's story is one for the books. So, without further ado, let's dive into the trials and tribulations of the late rapper and discover how he became one of the most influential figures within the city's rap scene. Along with his mother, father, and 9 siblings, Smoke Dawg was raised in the city's first community housing project, Regent Park. When you walk through Regent now, it looks like a lavish upper-class neighborhood. That's because the city's housing committee has almost completed their $2.5 million revitalization project on the once worn-down community housing complex, but the lore of the historic block still lives on to this day. From being the set of multiple blockbuster films to being deeply entrenched in gang violence, Regent Park has seen it all. But where did it all begin? Built in 1948, the neighborhood was originally designed to be a garden city, with buildings placed in a pastoral setting, facing inwards and turning their backs on the noise of the city. Streets were replaced with walkways and green space, making the area largely inaccessible to traffic. The design was also completely residential, so that means no commercial and recreational facilities. This resulted in the area and its 7,500 residents at the time becoming isolated from the rest of the city because people who didn't live in Regent Park had very little reason to go there. 50 years later, the neighborhood fell into despair. A report published in the mid-70s cited a lack of recreational facilities, bored youth, and socioeconomic factors as reasons for what started Regent Park's battle with rampant drug use and gang violence. With his community in turmoil, Smoke Dawg's situation wouldn't get any better when his father would go on his own chaotic adventure. Originally from a blood-affiliated block known as the Lanes, Wayne Smart, otherwise known as Dookie, racked up one hell of a criminal record during his teenage years. Beginning at the age of 17, his record begins with a lifetime firearms prohibition after getting shot in the stomach at a nightclub back in 1991. 2 years later, he was charged with first-degree murder after 21-year-old Landale Walters was shot through the basement window of a home located on the north side of Jane and Finch. In court, Dookie testified he fired his 9mm semi-automatic weapon 5 times in self-defense, which resulted in a jury acquitting him sometime in 1994. His luck with the law was just beginning. A year later, he was acquitted in 2 separate cases, one involving an attempted murder and the other being a home invasion and robbery. Although Smoke Dawg was born the next year on November 18, 1996, it appears his father's life in the streets continued as he was arrested for second-degree murder 3 years later on July 26, 1999.
Pops was a demon. Pops was on timing. What line?
According to Toronto police, he engaged in a shootout at a townhouse in Pelham Park, which not only cost him the use of his left eye, but the life of 30-year-old Delroy Barnes. He spent 2 years in pretrial custody before being found, you guessed it, not guilty. The Smart family's lineage of hardened steppers didn't end there, as Smoke Dawg's 2 older brothers would inherit the same street gene as their father. Unfortunately, they didn't inherit the same luck with the law. Andrew Douglas, street name Ace, is the eldest amongst the Smart brothers. In 2013, he was convicted of being one of 3 armed men who entered a man's apartment to steal money and drugs. During the robbery, the victim was forced to his knees at gunpoint. When he tried to escape, he was shot in the ribcage with a shotgun by one of Ace's co-accused. Although the victim suffered life-threatening injuries, he survived and made a full recovery. Ace served an 8-year prison sentence for the incident. Then there's Smoke Dogg's other older brother, Dwayne Smart, better known as J-Dawg or 10K. The first thing most may notice about him is his uncanny resemblance to Smoke Dogg, who he had a very close relationship with. On one of Smoke Dogg's first Instagram posts, he even claims J-Dawg is the only one who truly understands him, ending it with the hashtag, my brother's keeper. Growing up, J-Dawg started off as a hooper. He showed great potential in his teens and was even enrolled in a basketball camp hosted by two-time NBA MVP Steve Nash. Although J-Dawg was learning the fundamentals of basketball alongside a future NBA champion, his dream of entering the league ended not long after graduating high school. You see, despite his extremely elusive profile, J-Dawg was not only well known amongst the streets of Toronto, but well respected as well. It's to the point his ops have even tipped their hat to him.
TK was my dog too. TK used to be my cruddy. Real nigga. We used to fucking bring him on. We made TK savage. Like, we're the reason why TK is on it, you know? 10K, not TK, 10K. 10K was doing drills with Wasi. No word, no lie.
Okay.
Wasi was bringing him on drills.
J-Dawg also has his fair share of run-ins with the law. On May 24th, 2016, the Toronto Police Service Integrated Gun and Gang Task Force executed a search warrant in the Westmount Avenue and Rosecliff Avenue area. It is alleged that the execution of the warrant led to the seizure of a loaded Glock, 10 grams of cocaine, and over $15,000 in Canadian currency. Although nobody was found in the residence at the time, Toronto police issued an arrest warrant for J-Dawg, who police believed was suffering from severe frostbite at the time. He remained on the run from the law until 2018, but we'll get into that in more detail later in the video. Unlike his father and two older brothers, Smoke Dogg decided to break the generational curse of the streets. Sometime in the early 2010s, he was introduced to Toronto's niche rap scene by accompanying his fellow Regent Parkers to the studio, many of which were already making noise within the small community.
It's Ronda. DGC, don't get close. They already know.
Don't Get Close is a rap crew consisting of a mix of Regent Park and Parma Court-based rappers. Before Pressa and Duvet, these were the guys running Toronto's rap scene, with multiple videos amassing hundreds of thousands of views, especially during a time when the city was barely known to the world. DGC are undoubtedly one of a few pioneers of Toronto's rap scene. Smoke Dogg was close with these guys, especially Ronnie. During their formative years, they would often hang out at Ronnie's family home in Regent Park, which is where Smokey also got linked up with the other Don't Get Close members. From there, the boys bonded over their mutual interest in music, and by 2012, at the age of 16, Smoke Dogg featured on his first song with the DGC crew.
Against my crew, your life will get short, yeah. Ace touch free, J-Dawg, we extort man's legs high when I beat the pussy like a pro down. Don't get close, you get close.
Judging by the comments, Smoke Dogg's debut made a lasting impression, and for him to stand out amongst a team of already made rappers, it was a major accomplishment. He continued releasing songs under the Don't Get Close label, but towards the end of 2013, Smoke Dogg mutually parted ways with the group. His time in the studio slowly diminished until one rainy day in Regent Park when his best friend Ano booked a studio session for him. On October 4th, 2014, Smoke Dogg arrived at the studio with a couple of his friends from the neighborhood, that being Mo G, Safe, and Puffy Els. In the studio, the group's energy was unmatched. They cooked up several songs which they had no intentions of releasing until 2 days later when the boys were hit with devastating news.
Police were called to Shooter Street near Parliament on October 6, 2014 for the sound of gunshots. 18-year-old Yusuf Ali was taken to hospital with multiple gunshot wounds where he later died. The suspect, who was wearing all black with a hoodie, was last seen heading north on Regent Street. So investigators will provide an update for us at 10:30 this morning. On
October 6th, 2014, 18-year-old Yusuf Ali, better known by loved ones as Ano, was walking with two of his friends near Queen and Parliament Street at 2:45 p.m. As he entered an alleyway, he was ambushed by a lone gunman who shot him in the head and back multiple times, killing him instantly. Toronto police noted the attack was targeted for two reasons. First, the suspect followed Ano through several different laneways for at least 5 minutes in a very determined fashion before opening fire. Second, Ano was walking with two friends at the time of his death, both of which were left unharmed. Although police were able to confirm the firearm used in the killing was linked to one other offense that occurred in a different part of the city, it still wasn't enough information to link them to a suspect. The city's police chief at the time, Mark Saunders, placed a $50,000 reward for any information leading to Ano's killer, but they received nothing. Ano's murder is unsolved to this day. In honor of Ano, his friends would release the songs they recorded at the studio he booked for them, and well, the rest is history.
Yeah, man. Squad.
Still by the Rabba was the first piece in what would bloom into an entirely new sound coming out of the city. DAWG and Smoke Dawg's unique style, fused with elements of trap, grime, and Toronto's distinct sound, captivated the ears of listeners across the country. Smoke Dawg's Bird Call, which came from his friend Santana, was shouted everywhere, while Mo's Dance Move the Ginobili, which derives from Lil J's Bop, became the new dance trend. Although the duo were quickly making a name for themselves within the city's rap scene, they were only making waves within Canada. But on March 25th, 2015, that all changed. After being shown the song by his manager Oliver, Drake posted a clip of Still to his Instagram, captioning it, "Ginobili Dance All Summer." This cosign alone propelled the song to new heights as the music video's view count hit the millions. All Smoke Dawg had to do now was carry the momentum, which is exactly what he did next. 3 days after Still by the Rabba was re-uploaded by a fan, Smoke Dawg released his hit single, Trap House, with both tracks securing more than 12 million views combined, plus features from Giggs and French Montana. I think it's safe to say Smokey cemented himself as a contending rapper in Toronto's bubbling rap scene. But he wasn't done just yet. Along with his Still by the Rabba collaborator Moji, he recruited 3 of his other Regent Park brethrens, and together they formed the music collective Halal Gang. Linked by the religious and cultural connections that formed their friendship in the first place, Halal Gang had a lot to offer. Growing up in a neighborhood rife with challenges, the friends came together and used music as an escape and a means to share their truth with the world, and they made sure they were heard. As 2015 was coming to a close, Smoke Dawg ended the life-changing year off by performing at his first show. Located at the historic downtown Toronto venue, Mod Club, the OVO-sponsored event was organized for Safe's album debut, and it featured a star-studded lineup of rising Toronto talent. To end the historic show off in fashion, Smoke Dawg performed his hit song Still and Trap House for the first time to an electric crowd.
I will never spend my money on no stanko. All my bitches on the pole bringing that cash back. Oh yeah, these are fatties, you gotta ask that. Little nigga, I ain't rocking Nikes, cause I'm past that.
2015 was a monumental year for Smoke Dawg and Halal Gang, but 2016 was just as better. It started with Puffy L's dropping his hit single, Been Flexing.
Flexing, we really flexing.
Sitting at 3 million views, the music video featured several notable Halal Gang affiliates roaming the streets of Regent Park having the time of their lives. The raw visuals mixed with the catchy lyrics made for a hit, and things only got better for the Regent Park collective when Smoke Dawg dropped OTN Back, just 10 days later.
These niggas all whack, they ain't really in the trap, they just posting where other niggas stacks, these niggas all act.
Featuring fellow Regent Parker Ruck, the Chicago drill-inspired song showcased the musical versatility of Smoke Dawg, which left fans wanting more. So he delivered again a month later with his own remix of Designer's multi-platinum record, Panda.
I got shooters in the dot, niggas ain't shooting, just stop. Niggas say they want war, pull up on any block.
For Smoke Dawg and Halal Gang, their consistency was never questioned, which made them a force to be reckoned with. With each song they put out, the views rose and their fan base strengthened, but mere weeks after the release of Smoke Dawg's Panda Freestyle, the music production came to an abrupt halt when gang violence in Regent Park began to escalate. This wasn't the atypical gang war though. Usually, it's two neighboring blocks going at each other over control of drug distribution areas, but in the case of Regent Park in 2016, the war was internal.
Joanne Warner says her neighbor's son was attacked in the Halal Gang dispute.
Her son was walking home from buying a bag of chips. They asked her son, "Are you a part of the Halal Gang?" He said no. He was shot 8 times, almost died in the hospital, not affiliated with a gang whatsoever.
These are two criminal organizations whose main business is drugs and guns. That's it. It's that simple.
The police say these are no simple street gangs. When it comes to gang busts in Toronto, we're certainly used to hearing about drug and gun trafficking, but police allege what makes these gangsters different is how they would resort to extreme acts of violence to support their bottom lines.
What started as a rap group, later turning into what police described as a highly sophisticated yet violent criminal organization, the Regent Park-bred Sick Thugs came to notoriety in the early 2000s. They were the pioneers of Regent Park's rap wave, but due to how small the scene was at the time, there was little money to be made, so they resorted to drug and weapons trafficking. Living in a community where drug use was rampant, the Sick Thugs grew exponentially, but as fast as they were making a name for themselves in the streets of the Six, they were also making themselves a bigger target to rival downtown gangs and apparently fellow Regent Park crews as well. It all started on March 23, 2016, when C-Sick, a known Sick Thugs member, was approached by a man who walked up to him from behind and shot him multiple times at close range. He was found dead in an alleyway by a recording studio at 260 Carlaw Avenue. Although Toronto police were able to identify,
they did that nigga like L.A. Capone. That's how L.A. Capone got smoked. Leaving the studio in the parking lot. Voila.
The gun studio multiple times at close range. He was found dead in an alleyway by a recording studio at 260 Carlaw Avenue. Although Toronto police were able to identify the gunman, even placing a Canada-wide warrant out for his arrest, they were unable to locate him. Police believe he fled to Somalia immediately after the shooting. Till this day, he is still on the run. Things escalated a week after.
He's still on the run? Gingerbread man. Gingerbread man. He was not catching him.
After the shooting. Till this day, he is still on the run. Things escalated a week after C6's death when Santana, a Halal Gang affiliate and close friend of Smoke Dawg, was shot dead moments after attending C6's funeral. His killer was his once close friend, Tyke, whom is also a reputable Sick Thugs affiliate.
Damn, Tyke. I remember Tyke. Tyke rap. Tyke rap, right? Damn. Tyke rap, right? I heard a song from him.
And close friend of Smoke Dawg was shot dead moments after attending C6's funeral. His killer was his once close friend, Tyke, whom is also a reputable Sick Thugs affiliate and a member of the infamous rap duo, TNT. Yeah, Tyke fled to Aruba shortly after the incident, where he was captured a year later. He was arrested on separate charges of first-degree murder after being suspected of being the triggerman behind the death of Tweety, a known member of another Regent Park gang called Chin Pak. Throughout the remainder of 2016, several more fatal shootings occurred in and around Regent Park, one victim being an innocent grandmother, another being Sick Thugs affiliate, Ruck. The interesting thing about Ruck was that although he has deep roots with Sick Thugs, he was also tied in with Halal Gang. As Regent Park was up in flames, Smoke Dawg did his best to steer away from the gang politics and focus on further elevating his music career. By the end of the bloody year, he managed to secure himself a feature from UK grime legend, Skepta. Overseas finds both artists delivering top-notch lyrics and flows about their bolstering partnership, which may have been ignited by their mutual friend and Grammy-nominated producer, Murder Beats. Overseas propelled Smoke Dawg and Halal Gang to new heights as they
Murder Beats just played Kendrick shit up in the club, right? He played the Kendrick track of the club. I saw that shit on the internet the other day.
began to break into international territory. It started with Smoke Dawg earning a gig as Drake's opener for his 2017 Boy Meets World tour in Europe, then a spot on Charlie Sloth's Fire in the Booth segment. Smoke Dawg also headlined his own sold-out show in London, which included a rare surprise appearance from the boy himself.
I'd like to bring a special guest, my big brother.
Towards the middle of 2017, the spotlight on Smoke Dawg only got bigger after he was featured in the documentaries Northside and Noisy Meets Smoke Dawg. Throughout both documentaries, he talked about his rise, how to break out of Toronto's glass ceiling, and how the violence that was a part of his daily life in Regent Park continued to follow him even as his career began to blow. Although he didn't go into specifics, I'm here to provide that for you. So sometime in March of 2017, after finishing his headlining gig on Drake's Boy Meets World tour, he headed back to Toronto. He then took a trip to a dispensary where he was confronted by a man by the name of Michael Lewis. Lewis claimed Smoke Dawg's notorious Toronto chain was his, and he wanted it back. Smoke Dawg refused to hand the chain over, so Lewis snatched it and ran off. Now this is where things begin to escalate. Instead of keeping the chain, Lewis sold it to a rival rapper by the name of Vanally Stacks. Vanally ranged from the infamous block of Alexandra Park, home to the Project Originals and Menace Gang, crews that are not only well-versed in the city's criminal underworld, but also share a deep hatred for gangs reigning from Regent Park. Consisting of the likes of Casper TNG, K-Money, and Rolex Hummy, all of which have voiced their displeasure of Regent Park over the past decade. Menace Gang began taking aim at Smoke Dawg after he got his chain snatched by dropping multiple diss records towards him. In the music videos, the infamous Toronto chain can be seen hanging on the necks of the Alexandra Park rappers, with some even throwing it out of moving vehicles.
Damn, son, that's the worst. Niggas take your chain, bro. Niggas online with that shit on. That shit is crazy. That's hella embarrassing. Niggas smacking your chain on the floor and shit. Like, niggas is wildin'.
Primo gang. Rappers get your chain in short, ayy. I put your chain on the tour, ayy.
Who got your homie by the robber? The only reason why your trap house doing numbers, tell them, cause I was locked up for 6 summers.
Smoke Dawg and his Halal Gang cohorts didn't respond to the online antics. Instead, they continued putting out hits. From Riri to Count It Up, both of which amassed millions of views, it appears Halal Gang remained focused on the bigger picture. That is until a few Menace Gang members took the dissing to a whole new level.
Police are investigating a shooting near Queen and Spadina. Let's get more details tonight. We're live to CB24's Kayla Williams. It's been several hours now. What have you learned, Kayla?
Well, so far, Toronto police as well as the forensic investigation team remain here on scene. Right behind me is where the shots were fired about 4 hours ago. It happened just after 4 p.m. at Atkinson Housing Co-op
As per Toronto police, Atkinson Co-op was the target of constant gun violence throughout May 2018. For those that don't know, Atkinson is the home of Menace Gang, so this latest incident set off Casper and K-Money, who decided to retaliate. On May 28, 2018, they gathered 2 other noted Menace Gang members, hopped into a rental car, and drove to Regent Park looking for Halal Gang affiliates, who they believed were the ones behind the shootings. The full incident has been covered in the last video, so if you want a detailed breakdown of the incident, I suggest watching it, but for now, I'll provide a brief summary of what happened. The men arrived to a busy Regent Park at around 2:40 p.m. K-Money and another man exited the car, each holding handguns. K-Money discharged his gun, taking aim at the man in the black shirt. K-Money and his partner immediately jumped back in the vehicle and they took off. What followed was a frantic pursuit that saw the 4 men speed away. Taking aim, exited to a busy region. But for now, I'll provide a brief summary of what happened. The men arrived to a busy Regent Park at around 2:40 p.m. K-Money and another man exited the car, each holding handguns. K-Money discharged his gun, taking aim at the man in the black shirt. K-Money and his partner immediately jumped back in the vehicle and they took off. What followed was a frantic pursuit that saw the 4 men speed away, fly through red lights, drive into oncoming traffic and sidewalks filled with pedestrians. The chase ended when they crashed into several garbage cans. The vehicle was too badly damaged to keep going, so everyone fled on foot. The 4 men were eventually found and captured by police. It appears this was the breaking point for Smoke Dawg, who decided to publicly respond to his rivals for the first time.
If I want it, I get it. Straight to the top where I'm headed.
On June 25th, 2018, Fountain Freestyle was released. The music video saw Smoke Dawg simultaneously walking through rival territory while uttering lyrics threatening to off his Alexandra Park rivals. The less than 2-minute freestyle was a bold statement by the rapper, suggesting that he's not letting anyone stand in his way, but tragically, it only took 5 days for this statement to be proven to be untrue. On June 30th, 2018, Smoke Dawg, along with his manager Cobra Prime, attended the popular nightclub Cube to enjoy the Canada Day long weekend. Before entering the establishment, Smoke Dawg was confronted by Driftwood Crip and fellow rapper 21 Neat. It is rumored days prior to the following incident, Smoke Dawg dissed Driftwood-based rapper Robin Banks, and 21 Neat wasn't happy about it. According to a security guard working at the club at the time, a heated argument escalated to the point 21 Neat threatened to shoot Smoke Dawg, and because of this, 21 Neat was denied entry to the club. He later left in an Uber along with 2 of his associates, 16-year-old Keyshawn Jones, seen here in the black hoodie, and an unidentified man in a blue shirt. The trio arrived back at the club shortly before 8 p.m. This time Keyshawn and 21 Neat were both armed with guns and ready to confront Smoke Dawg as soon as he leaves the club. As they anticipated, Smoke Dawg left the club for a smoke break, and according to the security guard, 21 Neat went straight to making threats again, but this time it escalated into something nobody was expecting. In the midst of the verbal argument, 21 Neat can be seen flicking his cigarette at Smoke Dawg, which causes Smoke Dawg to reach for his waistband and start firing shots towards 21 Neat and his associates. As pedestrians begin to scatter, 21 Neat can be seen running into the road and fumbling his own firearm. He then retrieves it and begins to run in the direction of Smoke Dawg, who at this point began fleeing. Unfortunately, he didn't make it far. As he turned his back to run for cover, he can be seen running right past Keyshawn Jones, who appears to be unfazed by the brazen gunfire unfolding right before his eyes. As Smoke Dawg runs past him, Keyshawn can be seen pointing his firearm in the direction of the Regent Park rapper and firing the kill shot. Seconds later, 21 Neat catches up to Smoke Dawg, who is now laying on the ground, and proceeds to fire several more shots into his lifeless body. Judging by the reaction of 21 Neat's unidentified accomplice, this final act of revenge seemed too gruesome for him to witness, as he turns around and lifts his arms above his head in shock. Keyshawn then splits from 21 Neat and flees the scene in a blacked-out SUV, while 21 Neat and his unidentified accomplice fled on foot through an alleyway. In the end of the near 20-second gun battle, Smoke Dawg and Cobra Prime were killed. A woman who happened...
Yo, nah, son. Damn. Damn. That was crazy. That was crazy. Damn, son. I don't like the blunt to that. Damn, Smoke. Niggas diluted him. Diluted him. At least he, you feel me, he upped it on nigga, let it off. Bam! But he, damn, son. Some niggas is on it. The Los was on it. Yeah, like, you ain't supposed to run with the blick. He thought that, when he did that, he probably thought, I'm gonna get these niggas out of here, and I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. He really thought that, probably, like, them niggas upped it. Yeah, he just thought that he was gonna scare them off. Boom, 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 niggas start running, get out of there. Nah, nigga. My son seen you run away? He said, oh, hell no. Got the blick, come here. Homie was in the cut weighing though. Did him dirty. Damn, son. That shit is crazy. RP.
Happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, was hit by stray bullets. Fortunately, she made a full recovery. After being identified by Toronto police weeks following the incident, 21 Meat and Keyshawn Jones went on the run.
And 1 count of attempted murder.
Today, police released their names, 21-year-old Javonte Smart and 28-year-old Ernest Modekwe, both known in the hip-hop community, especially Smart, who went by the name Smoke Dawg.
If I want it, I get it. Straight to the top where I'm headed.
They haven't reached like super international heights yet, but they've worked internationally quite a bit, and they're definitely making pretty big waves here in Toronto.
Big enough to tour with Drake in 2017. The Six's own released this on Instagram, saying all the inner lights being extinguished lately is devastating. I wish peace would wash over our city.
Smoke Dawg's death was felt across the hip-hop community. From Drake to Charlie Sloth to Murder Beats, influencers from around the world paid their respects to the fallen rapper, but those truly affected by his passing was his family, especially his 2 older brothers. Throughout the remainder of 2018 and 2019, Ace and J-Dawg would embark on a bloody course of revenge. It all began on September 2nd, 2018. A 9th annual memorial barbecue in Coronation Park is taking place. It's hosted by Cheryl Ann Singh every year as a celebration of life for her son, who died in 2009. Ms. Singh noted that the people who were invited to the barbecue were her friends and friends of her sons. She further added that the usual group of her son's friends helped her set up the memorial. This included 30-year-old Michael Lewis, the man who robbed Smoke Dawg of his chain back in 2017. Ms. Singh claimed Mr. Lewis was already at the barbecue when she arrived, and that he was there with his 2 children and pregnant wife, Emily Chamberlain. While Mr. Lewis was sitting at the end of one of the 2 picnic tables by the barbecue, Ace, alongside 3 men, one of them being his younger brother and rapper Young Smoke, walked up to a man who goes by the nickname Sherms. Sherms said what's up to Ace, shook hands with him, then looked at Mr. Lewis and said, "Ace is here." When Sherms mentioned the name Ace, Mr. Lewis appeared as if he knew something bad was going to happen, and according to his girlfriend, he looked, quote, scared. Ace then said to Mr. Lewis, "Let me holla at you quick." Mr. Lewis got up and talked to Ace for about 2 minutes before the conversation quickly escalated into a physical confrontation. Mr. Lewis then pulled out a concealed firearm, but Ace managed to grapple it out of him and fire 5 shots, all of them striking Mr. Lewis. Then Miss Chamberlain overheard her boyfriend scream no before Ace stood over him, grab him by his collar, and shoot him one last time in the head, killing Mr. Lewis instantly. Although he evaded police that day, Toronto homicide detectives, with the help of the Gun and Gang Task Force,
Nah, son. That nigga took that nigga strap. He was scared with a gun on him. These niggas is crazy. Yo, you can't make this shit up. I swear to God, my mama, you can't make this shit up. How you scared with the WAP on you? I wish the fuck I would. I'm Superman with that bitch. Them niggas would have carried a paw. I'd already been squeezing. Y'all brother just died. I know y'all want me. I know what's up. Y'all brother just died and I took his chain. I'd have seen them niggas. They would have set them niggas in the paw. I'd have sent my family out of there. I probably would have left, or I would have squeezed on them niggas first. Word of my mother. How you let a nigga take your gun and kill you? They hit you 5 times, they grabbed you. Hold this. Hold that one too, matter of fact, nigga. Dickhead.
Police that day, Toronto homicide detectives with Lewis. Then Miss Chamberlain overheard her boyfriend scream no before Ace stood over him, grab him by his collar, and shoot him one last time in the head, killing Mr. Lewis instantly. Although he evaded police that day, Toronto homicide detectives, with the help of the Gun and Gang Task Force, arrested Ace a week and a half later on September 13th and charged him.
Damn. First degree. That's definitely a first degree. Yo, if he would have never gave that nigga the head tap, he probably would have beat that shit. Bro, if he would have never fucking pushed that nigga shit back, he probably could have got a self-defense, because that nigga felt when he backed out, I took the gun from him. I want to see how this ended for him.
With first-degree murder. During trial, the Crown revealed new details regarding the motive for the confrontation. In January 2016, Mr. Lewis purchased a distinctive gold pendant shaped like a shield with a chain valued at approximately $2,000 from a shop called Ama Jewelry. A month after purchasing the chain, it was taken from Mr. Lewis' apartment without his consent. A police report was made, but there was no follow-up. Then on July 2nd that same year, a photo of Smoke Dawg wearing the chain was posted on his Instagram account. A police investigation indicated that from the first post on July 2nd, 2016 until March 26th, 2017, a period of almost 9 months, 26 photographs and 1 music video of Smoke Dawg wearing the chain were posted on his Instagram account. March 26th was the last day the chain was seen on the Regent Park rapper's neck, because the next day, Mr. Lewis would cross paths with Smoke Dawg wearing the chain at a dispensary. At that moment, Lewis walked up to him, snatched the chain and ran off. Hours later, he took one final picture of him wearing it, as he sold it for $5,000 to his friend Vanali Stacks later that day. 24 hours later, a 9-second video was posted to Vanali's Instagram account depicting him wearing the chain. Since he was a Regent Park native, Lewis grew increasingly paranoid after robbing Smoke Dawg, believing either him or his Halal gang affiliates would recognize him and come after him.
The jury has heard that the accused, Andrew Douglas, is the brother of rapper Smoke Dawg, who was shot and killed just 2 months earlier. The Crown prosecutor told the jury that Michael Lewis, the victim, had nothing to do with Smoke Dawg's murder. That being said, there was bad blood between Michael Lewis and Smoke Dawg over a gold chain. Lewis's girlfriend testified this photo, taken in March 2017, showed her boyfriend just after he told her he went to get weed at a dispensary and ran into Smoke Dawg and got back his chain. Smoke Dawg and a couple of people walked in. Michael seen him and grabbed the chain off his neck, and he took his chain and he ran. He always just said he wanted his necklace back. That was his pride.
Oh, damn. So Smoke Dawg and them niggas stole his chain. That's fucked up. So that nigga died for no reason, for real. Damn, son. I thought he stole his chain on some gang shit, so I take all that shit back. I was talking. Yeah, I take that shit back. Damn. I mean, he still should have squeezed it, though. He knew it was trouble coming. But RP to him, too. God damn. Niggas booked his chain. He booked his chain back, sold it, made $3,000 profit because he only paid $2,000. Yeah, let me get $3,000. I'm going to sell it to this nigga Ops. It's kind of mixy, though. It's kind of mixy. Some mixy shit right here going on. Some messy shit going on in Toronto, man, I tell you.
Chamberlain said Lewis told her he later sold the chain and expressed concern to her about how dangerous it was that he had taken it back, testifying that after that, they avoided going downtown. The jury has seen video surveillance of 4 men who parked a few blocks away from Coronation Park before and after the shooting, 1 man in a gray tracksuit. The trial continues.
Did he beat it?
With the new evidence coming to light, the Crown theorized that Ace somehow found out Lewis was the one who took the chain and sold it to Vanali Stacks, who then used it to taunt Smoke Dawg on social media. Then when his brother died, it gave Ace a reason to seek revenge. Unbeknownst to the Crown, however, Ace's defense team came prepared. His defense lawyer, Richard Posner, told the Superior Court jury the whole revenge motive was illogical and that the evidence actually showed it was the paranoid Lewis who confronted Ace at the barbecue while armed. Posner also showed the jury surveillance video showing Ace spritzing himself with cologne before going to the park. "You don't want to smell good and sexy if you're going to kill somebody," Posner said. After 3 days of deliberation, the jury came to a consensus and delivered their verdict, stunning members of Lewis's family who were in attendance. After spending 4 years in pretrial custody, Ace was found not guilty and acquitted of all charges on October.
What? That's fire. That's fire. That's fire. Sheesh. That's fire. See, look, he had that money, and look, a regular nigga catch a case like that, and you pick a nigga up and and push his fucking scalp back, nigga, push his mother back blue, you're done, nigga.
October 29th, 2022.
Shout out to him. Good lawyer.
While Ace was in pretrial custody, J-Dawg was concocting his own form of revenge. According to court documents, he carried out his plan on November 4th, 2020, when he pulled up to Driftwood Crip territory and sprayed shots at a group of men standing nearby. Although a few bullets flew through a nearby daycare center, nobody was injured. 3 days later, just after midnight, Brantford police responded to a report of shots fired at the Comfort Inn on King George Road. Officers were told that 4 men fired multiple shots into a ground floor room before fleeing in a silver 4-door car. There were no injuries in the incident, which police described as a targeted shooting. It was later discovered the target was Taxneat, a senior member of the Driftwood Crips who is currently serving a life sentence after being arrested a year later on a second-degree murder charge. The wrath of J-Dawg wasn't over just yet. Approximately 14 hours after the Brantford shooting, a teen by the name of Jonathan Adamski and 4 of his friends were sitting inside Adamski's Accord, which was parked in the rear parking lot at a building frequented by the Driftwood Crips. It is important to note, Adamski has no known gang ties. At around 2:21 p.m., a silver Honda entered the lot and parked behind Adamski's Accord. 2 gunmen exited the silver Honda and approached Adamski's vehicle while a third individual remained in the driver's seat. Adamski spotted the gunman and started driving away, but as he started moving, the gunman started letting off shots. As multiple rounds were being fired, 36 to be exact, several hit Adamski, his 2 friends, and Dante Adriata, a 12-year-old boy who was walking with his mother across the street. Adamski managed to escape from the scene and pull his vehicle over at 415 Driftwood Avenue, roughly 1 kilometer away from the scene of the shooting. He and 2 of his friends were taken to hospital where they managed to make a full recovery. However, 12-year-old Dante succumbed to his injuries in hospital 4 days later. 24 hours after collecting surveillance footage of the area to gather information about the shooting and possible suspects, York Regional Police informed Toronto Police Services that they located a silver Honda matching the suspect vehicle's description in Vaughan, roughly 4 kilometers north of where the shooting occurred. The registered owner of the silver Honda had reported the car stolen on October 13, 2020. The forensics team was called in to examine the vehicle, and soon they found a single fingerprint belonging to one Rashawn Chambers, aka 24, a man who has suspected ties to the Lane, a blood faction reigning from the south side of Jane and Finch and who are direct rivals of the Driftwood Crips. The next day, on November 9th, Toronto's Gun and Gang Task Force tracked down Rashawn at a Canadian Tire in downtown Toronto, and with him was none other than J-Dawg. CCTV caught the moment the Gun and Gang Task Force executed the dramatic takedown of both men. In the video, which appears to come from a surveillance camera, 2 plainclothes police officers can be seen stationed outside the main entrance of the Canadian Tire store as they waited for Rashawn and J-Dawg to come out. After a few seconds, both men, one of them holding a shopping bag, are seen stepping outside. At that precise moment, one of the officers lunges at Rashawn, wrapping his arms around his shoulders and tackling him to the ground. Meanwhile, the other officer tackles J-Dawg, but appears to struggle with him on the ground for a few brief...
Bro, that's the... Oh my God, son. When they blitz you like that, it's crazy. Like, nigga they have no time to bust a move. Like, no time to bust a move. You gotta be super on point just walking outside anyway. Like, look how they blitzed him. They blitzed him fast.
Dog to come out. After a few seconds, both
they not on point. I'd have seen that nigga running up, and I'd have probably pushed him, or I'd have just cut this way. Yeah, I'd have just cut this way. Nah, they had enough time. They wasn't on point. Look how they came out.
Store as they waited for Rashawn and J-Dawg to come out.
Look,
after a few seconds, both men...
They talking. They not on point. They talking to each other. They grab him. Look, he right here. He kind of confused. That's why he got caught. He confused. He's like, what the fuck?
One of them holding a shopping bag are seen stepping outside.
They got him already.
At that precise moment, one of the officers lunges at Rashawn, wrapping his arms around his shoulders and tackling him to the ground. Meanwhile, the other officer tackles J-Dawg, but appears to struggle with him on the ground for a few brief seconds as numerous civilians watch from a distance. Fortunately, he gets him under control once 5 other officers rush in to help. One of those officers then appears to remove a gun from J-Dawg, briefly holding it in the air before the video cuts out. Another gun can also be seen on the ground near Rashawn. In total, 3 firearms were found on both men.
Oh, them niggas was ready. Them niggas had 3 on them, nigga. Them niggas had 3 whaps on them, nigga. They was ready for smoke, nigga.
They were subsequently charged with first-degree murder and 5 counts of attempted murder. According to the National Parole Board, DAWG was released from a federal prison in March of 2020 after serving 2/3 of a 3.5-year sentence for several drug trafficking and weapons offenses. His parole documents indicate he was not to associate with anyone involved in criminal activity, but fast forward to August 2020, York Regional Police issued an arrest warrant for him after finding evidence he was breaching a court-ordered weapons prohibition. He was never arrested and was on the run during his shooting spree. 3 days after DAWG and Rashawn were captured, DAWG's getaway driver, 27-year-old CJ Hobbs, was arrested as he stepped off an aircraft at Halifax's Stanfield International Airport. He was returned to Toronto on November 17th. It is widely believed he is the half-brother of the late Southside Jane and Finch rapper NHSJJ, who has ties to the Southside Connection Bloods, another direct rival of the Driftwood Crips. He was known before he got on the plane in Toronto, one inspector said at a press conference at 31 Division. He further added, "We however couldn't make an arrest because the case was building on the day he fled." It was later that day that investigators had the grounds to arrest Mr. Hobbs, but by the time we caught up to him, he was on that plane. We were able to alert investigators in Halifax who arrested him once he got off. It was later discovered CJ Hobbs was also the getaway driver for the gunman who assassinated an innocent father in front of his newborn child and the gunman who ambushed beloved rapper and Driftwood affiliate, Houdini. He was subsequently hit with 2 more first-degree murder charges. The day after Houdini's death, CJ would go on Twitter to share his thoughts on the city's police chief and the Special Investigations Unit, indicating he may have had an idea they were coming after him. Although in trial, CJ pointed out the gunman in the Houdini case as Jack Lower, a noted drug trafficker who passed away in 2022. This has never been confirmed. In March of this year, CJ Hobbs was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 15 years in the case of Houdini. For the case of 12-year-old Dante, his trial is still pending, along with Rashawn and DAWG.
Police say they have arrested a man who is allegedly connected to 3 high-profile shootings that have happened this year, and the most recent happening less than 2 weeks ago, involving a 12-year-old boy.
Today, Mr. Hobbs was charged with a total of 3 counts of first-degree murder in relation to the 3 homicides.
27-year-old CJ Hobbs, who is originally from Toronto, was arrested in Nova Scotia last week.
It is alleged that he was the driver of the vehicles which transported the shooters to and from the 3 scenes.
The first shooting happened back in May.
We heard the gunshots.
Free the shooters, free the drivers.
A man gunned down near King and Blue Jays Way.
It's senseless.
The victim identified as DeMargio Jenkins, a rapper who also went by the name Houdini. Then, months later, on October 1st, another brazen daytime shooting. 27-year-old Hamdi Zakari was shot near Jane and Lawrence. Zakari was bringing his infant child to an appointment when the suspects drove by and shot him.
After the gunshots, we heard screams.
Niggas ain't got no pics with the baby.
When the suspects drove by and shot him.
After the gunshots, we heard screaming, we heard a woman's voice yelling for help, and that's when we called 911.
This program is very helpful.
Zakari was a youth mentor, and on November 7th, mid-afternoon, gunfire erupted near Jane Street and Strong Court, the shots hitting 12-year-old Dante Andriati Marroquin, an innocent bystander.
Our kids that are killing other people, children.
2 other people have been charged with first-degree murder in connection to the boy's death. Police allege Rashawn Chambers and Joanne Smart were the shooters.
Even with 1 dead and 2 incarcerated, tragedy for the Smart family wasn't over just yet. On December 11th, 2022, Grenadian officials would post a bulletin stating 49-year-old Wayne Smart vanished from his dwelling while on vacation in Grenada. Nearly a year later, on March 31st, 2023, Grenadian police apprehended Levon Date, a 33-year-old man who they believed had played a part in the disappearance of Wayne. After some convincing, police managed to get Levon to lead them to an area on the beachfront at River Sally St. Patrick, where they found Wayne's body burnt to a crisp. At that moment, Levon Date was charged with capital murder.
Heavy police presence was evident at the St. George's Magistrate Court on Wednesday as 2 high criminal cases were present, one of which was Levon Date, who was charged with capital murder for intentionally causing the death of Wayne Smart. Smart was reported missing on December 11th, 2022. The man charged with his murder is a deportee from Canada, according to his lawyer, Jerry Edwin. Date currently resides in Telescope St. Andrew.
Date was taken from the cell to use the bathroom at the Grenville Magistrate Court, when he pushed his way past the police officers and escaped. That is the information that we have had.
You heard that right. In less than a year of being incarcerated, Levon Date successfully escaped from custody. Officials reported on February 21st, 2024, while attending the Grenville Magistrate Court in Grenada, Leon was taken out of his cell to use the bathroom when he pushed his way past the police officers and escaped. As of the making of this video, he is still on the run. Smoke Dawg's story is a tragic one, but it serves as a reminder of the power of art and the ability of music to transcend boundaries. Though he may no longer be with us, his voice continues to echo through the streets of Toronto, inspiring a new generation of artists to share their truth, chase their dreams, and create a better world through their art.
Damn, another one? On the run. Still on a run. Still on a fucking run. Stay free, brother. They won't cook you when they catch you.